Welcome to the V.I.B.E Living Podcast, a podcast that talks about topics for women over 40. You know, that time of your life that many call midlife. That time of life when you can really vibe, be vibrant, intuitive, beautiful, and emerged. Join me, Linus Woods Mullins, certified holistic living and wellness expert for women over 40, as I talk about a variety of topics that address the wellness of the mind, body, and spirit for women over 40. Remember, midlife doesn't mean no life. Midlife is an opportunity to increase your self-love, your self-care, and your self-worth. It's your time to be vibrant, intuitive, beautiful, and emerged. It's your time to vibe. So come on, let's vibe. Hi, and welcome to the V.I.B.E Living Podcast. We've been on hiatus for a couple of months, but we are back, and I'm very excited about all the topics that we're going to be sharing with you over the next few months. In fact, I have a few guests that I'm going to be sharing with you. In fact, in this particular podcast, I have with me someone that's going to be fantastic, that has some great tips to share with you when it comes to connecting spiritually. But first, I want to talk about something that's been kind of on my mind lately, and that is the body and how we listen to it. It's time for a Body Bella segment. You know, when you are in a vibe mode, you are definitely in touch with what is going on with your body. So my question is, are you listening to what's going on with your body? Our body does communicate to us all the time. The problem is that we don't always listen. One of the things I have learned as I go through my midlife journey is the cost of not listening to my body. It's really mandatory to do so as we age. The signs we get are blessings, not meant to cause fear or anxiety, but rather an opportunity to tune into our bodies and actually act on what you're feeling. One way to tune into your body is to get quiet and stop at least once a day and tune in with you. Sometimes you will feel, sometimes you won't, but the main idea is to get used to tuning in and listening for messages that your body is sending you. Think about it. When was the last time you had a sharp pain, let's say, in the gut? What did you do? Did you stop and listen for a minute to see what that pain was all about, or did you just go ahead and push through it? You know, listening to your body can give you many benefits. It can definitely lead you to more pleasure. One of the side effects of habitually suppressing the body's uncomfortable messages is that you also begin to automatically suppress a lot of the things that bring you pleasure. Learning how to tune back into pleasure will help you to identify and pursue more of what makes you feel good and brings you more joy and gratification in your life. Also, learning to listen to your body can sharpen your emotional intelligence. Emotions are physical. We feel them in our bodies. So habitually tuning out your body's signals means that you're also tuning out in your emotions. And that can be really confusing sometimes. But allowing yourself to feel your body, both good and bad, and those emotions and feelings that it brings up is a good thing and can really lead us to better decisions and also having a more authentic and joyful life. Listening to your body can also lead to a better workout. I mean, learn the difference between good pain and bad pain, and you'll know when it's safe to push yourself at the gym or at your workout and when you need to dial it down a notch. What does it feel like when your body is craving rest versus when it's craving a workout? What does it feel like for your glutes to be firing and functioning properly and when you're doing a squat versus your low back or hip flexors are doing most of the work? tuning into your body gives you better information to work with, which leads to better overall durability, as well as stronger muscle contractions. And that means a better and faster and safer results whenever you work out. Listening to your body can also help you with your relationship with food. As you might imagine, being able to hear your body when it says, I'm hungry and I'm full, makes it a lot easier to know when to eat and when to stop. It also makes it easier to know what to eat. I just recently had an experience with cream of wheat. Now, I don't normally eat cream of wheat, but I had a taste for it and it was in the cabinet, so I ate it. I had a cup, and after about 30 minutes, I started feeling kind of nauseated, weak, kind of tired. I mean, out of nowhere. Now, I didn't put any sugar in it. I just put a little bit of honey. So it wasn't like a sugar high or a sugar low. I couldn't figure out why this was happening because it had never happened before with any of the food I normally eat. I started tuning into my body. I got quiet and I listened. And I realized I felt this way recently after eating some wheat thins. That inner voice said, look up the contents of cream of wheat. So I did. And there it was, right there, gluten. And wheat thins have gluten too. Now, I don't normally react to gluten this way because, frankly, I don't eat a lot of crackers and cereal and lots of bread. So I've never had an issue with gluten. But I did have this sensitivity with cream of wheat and wheat thins. And I discovered that perhaps I've developed a gluten sensitivity. Many times you can get some valuable information about what's going on with your body if you would just stop and listen. By stopping and listening to my body and going back and thinking about what I've been eating that might have caused that same issue, I learned something about what I should and should not eat. Allowing our bodies to guide us through the messages it sends us is just another way to honor our body, and it's another way to be well. It's another way for us to stay connected with us. But what else can we do to stay connected with our mind, body, and spirit? Let's talk about that. Let's talk about mind moves. Our minds are so powerful. I always say what we think about and what we ponder on truly does come to pass. And while many of us have experienced the results of a positive mindset, what is the secret sauce that we need to keep our minds focused on the positive and not going to places that aren't positive? I don't have to tell you what can happen and how costly it is to maintain a negative mindset. We have all experienced the results of that. In fact, our current state of affairs in the United States can speak to what has been negatively impacting us. We are in a very negative political season. Our economy is not doing well. And of course, we're in the middle of a pandemic. It's no wonder that our positive mindset is being challenged every single day. So what can we do? What can we do to not allow our outer circumstances to always feed into the mindset that we want to have? I have found that these practices can help keep us on track. And I do use them, not every single day, but definitely use them to try to stay positive. First of all, I try to focus on the good things rather than focusing on all the challenging situations and obstacles that are a part of life. I'm not in denial about what's going on. I am just trying to make a conscious choice to not let what's going on around me define me and to rule how I feel about my day. I also believe in the practice of gratitude, being thankful and recognizing what you're thankful for, talking about what you're thankful for, even keeping a gratitude journal. I believe that keeping a gratitude journal and at least writing in it once a day, maybe 3 things that you're grateful for, can go a long way towards helping you have a more positive mindset. And also, I believe in humor. Open yourself up to humor. I mean, allow yourself to laugh. Find a funny movie. Watch those silly videos on TikTok or go to your YouTube channel and find something funny or read someone's Twitter feed. Man, there's some funny things on Twitter that crack me up. But humor is healing. Laughter is so important. It gets those happy hormones going and it takes you out of yourself in terms of the things that might make you feel unpositive. Another thing, spend some time with positive people. Get rid of those energy vampires, those people who just suck the life out of you. And they're always negative. They're always talking about negative things. They're always, did you hear about this? Did you hear about that? And the hear about is always something negative. Instead, spend some time with positive people. And if you don't have any positive people in your life, get some positive people in your life and practice how you talk to yourself. Practice positive self talk. Say loving things about yourself. When you look in the mirror, don't automatically say, girl, you look a hot mess. Why not say, girl, you look beautiful? Or by the time I put on the makeup and do your hair, you are going to be beautiful. You're going to be awesome. You know, instead of always focusing on those things that we think that we're not, focus on those things that we know that we are that are good. And also talk to yourself about the way you're going to be or that you want to be. You may not be there yet, but you're working on it. I have a long list of I ams that I say every day and that I look at every day. I'm not all those I ams, but I'm working on them. And that alone makes me feel more positive. Also, identify those areas in your life that are negative and get rid of them. You know, are you working in a negative environment? Do you need to change that? Is there something going on in your home that's negative? Do you need to sit down and have a talk? Again, are there negative people in your life you need to remove? Remove whatever negativity that you can to help foster a more positive mindset. Also, start your day in a positive way. I truly believe that starting your day in a positive way can really impact how the rest of your day can be. I like starting my day with prayer, with reading affirmation and scripture and listening to gospel music. That really goes a long way for me. Other people like to start their day with a workout, taking a hot shower, whatever it is. I have a whole process that I like to go through. And I posted a link in the description for those of you who might be on Anchor or Apple Podcasts or whatever, however you're listening to this podcast. If you click on the link, it'll lead you to a YouTube video that I did about starting your day in a positive way. You know, I can't say, like I said, that I do all of these things every single day, but when I do any of them, they absolutely do help. Having a positive mindset takes work, just like anything that's worthwhile. But the journey to that positive mindset is such a great experience. Working on having a positive mindset can change your life. It can help you to move forward in life, aware of what is going on. And it will also help you to allow for more blessings that God already has for you. Which brings me to the idea of spiritual wellness and how we can stay connected spiritually. Time for our spiritual bliss segment and the wonderful guest I have for today. So, we have talked about 7 things we need to be doing, hopefully every day, to live a V.I.B.E life. We've covered our body and the things we need to be doing, and our minds and the things that we should be doing. But what about from a spiritual perspective? How do we stay connected to that inner voice? How do we continue to grow spiritually, regardless of what kinds of crazy things are going on around us? Well, we're going to talk about that. Get ready for our spiritual bliss moment. Well, I'm so excited that today we have someone with us who actually is an expert in when it comes to coaching people on how to live a vibe life. And she's a life coach, an entrepreneur. Her name is Carolyn McGraw. Carolyn has a fantastic background. She's been an intuitive coach also. She mentors entrepreneurs, and she really believes in living your life on purpose. And that's the name of Carolyn's TV show as well on the Women Broadcast Network channel. She is an international best-selling co-author with her chapter entitled The Healing Power of Love and Forgiveness. She combines her master's degree in education with over 15 years of experience as a clinical hypnotherapist. Carolyn guides others on how to transform their wound story to their wow story. For over 20 years, she taught school and worked with at-risk youth out of gangs, transforming their lives with poetry therapy, sharing her story on TV. Wow, Carolyn, what a varied and diverse background you have. And welcome to V.I.B.E Living Podcast. It's wonderful to have you here.
Thank you, Linus. I love what you're doing, what you're about, and so honored to connect with you and your audience.
Well, thank you. You know, you are actually living a vibe life and doing and pursuing the things that God has placed upon your heart to do. And I'm so excited that you have also been my co-collaborator for the Hope and Wellness Summit and now our Hope and Wellness Retreat. And we'll be talking about that in just a little bit. But I really want to focus on those things you're talking about when it comes to developing positive spiritual habits, those 7 things that we need to be doing to enhance ourselves spiritually. And I was wondering, how did you come to develop these habits and where does all that come from?
Oh, great question. So that's, there's multiple intelligence, and one of the intelligence is spirituality and, the intuitive and gifted in insight. And that's me. That's some gifts I discovered when I was young, that I was empathic. I could feel other people's feelings and emotions, and I didn't know what to do with that. And so on my journey, I wanted to figure out how I could use that to help others, to inspire them, to empower them, to heal their hearts. And so I've just been on this journey of learning the healing arts. And really what I'm finding is when I'm working with someone, I'm really, tuning into their soul and what is in their heart and what's in the way of them being their highest version, their best version of themselves. And, teaching tools to help them to let go of the past, to forgive, to step into their purpose. So I've been on that journey for myself. I'm helping my clients do that. I love speaking about it. And, I found that our spiritual wellness is the key factor in our physical and emotional well-being.
That is so true.
Don't you find that true? That it's like the shortcut, if we're focused on our inner connection, our divine connection, and making time for sacred time, that's going to improve our relationships, our health, our prosperity, everything.
So tell us about these 7 things, these 7 habits that help us to be spiritually well.
Okay. So number 1, as I mentioned, making a daily time, morning is the best, for your sacred spiritual ritual time where you are using meditation and prayer and listening to what's on your heart. What's the most important thing for you to do that day? Where is God leading you? So through journaling, meditating, prayer, and reading inspirational messages, books, and, the wonderful Bible, to tune into what God wants you to do. And so when I have done that for myself, my day goes smoothly, peaceful. I have more patience. I'm happier. I feel a balance. And amazing things happen when I start my day with that. And I notice when I don't, when I get rushed and in a hurry and I don't have that time, I kind of struggle through the day and things aren't going as well. So that's my number 1. How about you, Linus? What's one of the things that you do?
Well, we have something in common because I certainly do believe in starting your day in a positive way. In fact, I have a whole online course about starting your day in a positive way. And one of the things I really do believe in is giving God, or whatever that higher being is that you believe in, whatever you call it, the first fruits of the day, your first thoughts, asking for guidance, just sharing and having that conversation with your inner spirit or with God or the Holy Spirit, and really being vulnerable and open to whatever messages are there available for you that you're ready to receive. So I agree that starting your day, being able to pray or meditate or perhaps read scripture or read something that's positive or listening to something that's positive. I find for me, listening to gospel music is really uplifting
Mm-hmm.
early in the morning, but basically trying to do all things that are positive and not do anything that's negative,
Mm-hmm.
which for me means not listening to the news, not listening to TV at all, but listening for those things that are going to help raise my vibration. They're going to help uplift
Yes.
me and help me,
Yes.
feel a positive outlook in terms of looking forward to the day.
Yes, yes to that. And there's so many benefits through that, taking that time for yourself. And that inner reflection is what that meditation and inner connection does. It lowers your blood pressure. It helps you overcome that inner critic of that negative voice. And it sets you like in alignment with what's, the most important things. Sometimes our priorities get askew, and what are we focusing our time in, and having that time helps you to prioritize most important things. And I've also found that our body breaks down when our spirit can no longer cope. And whatever the anxiety, the depression, the physical pain that we have, it's a message from our body alerting us that we need to do something different. We need to listen to the signals. Maybe it's resting. Maybe it's, changing our diet, or, reaching out for help with that emotional anxiety and depression. And that really it comes down to forgiving is the antidote. We got to let go and forgive and accept, what is going on with our life. That gives us that rejuvenation in our spirit that then improves our health and our relationships, our mind and body.
So we've started our day and we're kind of like on our way to one good solid spiritual habit. What are some of the other ones that you have that you think are really important that we do on a daily basis?
Yes. Well, my motto is take the time to make your soul happy. And it is doing the things you love to do, um, that, bring you joy, that bring you happiness, that relax you, that make you laugh. Um, that we put that last on our priority list. We got to take care of business, the chores, all the things that we have to do, maybe everyone else before ourselves. And, to put that at the top of your priority is like, what is it that makes your soul happy? And I find that expressing yourself through the arts, if it's writing, acting, drawing, painting, creating something, if it's crafting, singing, music, all those things is like um, a therapeutic tool to release our, inner feelings. And it's also this creating something that can inspire someone else. It can, it's an expression and therapy at the same time.
With that, in fact, I like to do adult coloring. I love picking out the
Yes.
colorings and then trying to stay within the lines and all this stuff. I discovered it a few years ago, and it's really become something that has given me great solace. And it also kind of I'm using different parts of my brain when I'm creating in that
Mm-hmm.
way. I
Mm-hmm.
recently added another stream of revenue to my business, and I now have online strategy clients. And one of the things that I do is I create their social media banners and their all of their graphics and stuff. And I didn't know how to do this 10 years ago, but this was one of the skills I picked up, in running my business. And actually I've gotten pretty good at it. And I have to say that
Yes, you have.
the
You
coloring and
have.
stuff, yeah, the coloring and stuff has kind of awakened that part of my brain around creativities and colors and all of that. But it does give me a sense of solace and a sense of peace, when I'm doing those kinds of things.
I love that. Yes, I do something similar. I have visual journaling that I work with kids. Also, this is so wonderful. I have them, breathe, relax, and ask a question. What is stressing you, or what's making you angry or sad, and to just let it come out through your hand, through the crayon, the marker, to just let it express, like you're tapping into your subconscious, your heart space, to recognize what's really going on that you need to take a look at, address. And it is also releasing at the same time. So you have more room to breathe inside when you're finding a way to have an outlet. Wonderful for all ages to be able to do, creating and releasing and expressing.
I
Uh,
find that adding that component in your life, even if you think you're not that creative, it's not so much about how great it is that you're creating. It's just the idea that you're creating. And in some cases, for some people, using a different part of your brain, exercising those brain muscles to do something that's different that you're not used to. And this is so important when it comes to living a vibe life and to really thriving at midlife. And that is exploring those sides of you maybe that you haven't had a chance to explore. And one of those is that whole creativity thing. If you've been a creative, let's say a baker or something like that, fantastic. Well,
mhm,
perhaps you want to
mhm.
take a look at maybe being a great cook, or perhaps you want to take a look at, growing the herbs that you might want to use, or things of that nature, where it might be an offshoot of something that you're interested in, but takes you down a completely different road of your creativity.
Yes. And with that is also one of my next step for increasing your spiritual vibe or life is, that passion, discovering what was it that you used to love to do or you haven't had time, and make time to develop that, use that, connect with other people that have that same passion, because that passion can take you to your purpose. And your purpose is finding what you love and how you can help others, bless others' lives through what you love to do, what you're good at doing. And I help people create a life purpose statement. And I ask them questions, what is it that's, your values, and what is so important to you and what you love to do. And we kind of create a statement so that they can empower them to make that a priority, and living that and connecting there. So many people want to, I work with anxiety and depression. And one of the questions I ask them is like, well, what are, when you don't have anxiety, depression, what is it that you're wanting to do? And they're wanting to make a difference. They wanted to have meaning in their life and use their gifts and talents. And that's your purpose. When you're using your gifts and talents and sharing it with others, you're living your life purpose. And that's just joyful. That's just that high vibe. You're in the high vibe. You're living your passion and your joy, and other people want that, right? They're attracted to you. That's like, how are you doing that? They want to learn from you, of because they want that. So that puts out that attraction into people who are also wanting what you have.
It's interesting because I feel like when you're really operating in your gifting, it becomes almost like a symbiotic experience when people are attracted to you, and you find yourself attracted to them. Because normally people are attracted to you because there's something about you that reminds them either of themselves or something that they would like to do that they haven't done yet. And so that kind of attraction can be symbiotic. At first they might be attracted to you because you've got that glow, and they want to figure out, gee, what is it about that glow? I want to have that glow. I want to find out what it is she's doing. And almost always, when you actually have that exchange of information, you find out that you have a lot of things in common with that person. And that person may not be doing exactly some of the things that you're doing, but perhaps there's always been a desire to do those kinds of things.
Yes. Yes. And so one of my other steps is intentional living. So making intentions each day for how you want your day to be, what you want to experience, what you want to feel. Um, and like I'll be on a walk with my daughter who's 12, and I'll say, what do you want to experience and feel today? And she'll say, I want a productive day. I want to be relaxed. I want to have fun. And so we both state our intention to each other, and like encouraging each other to, set that for the day. And then you can do that for each activity that you're doing. When you're with your family, how do you want to feel with your family? Is it bonding? Is it connecting? Is it enjoying each other? So I think about that before I go and hang out with my family members. Like, how do I want? And I kind of gets me on that high vibe, and then they can feel that, and it's intentional living. I do that with my business, with my clients, with everything that I'm doing. Is how do I want to be and feel, instead of thinking about problems, I think about the solutions, and not how I don't want it to be, but how I do want it to be.
Yeah, I do that. I try to be very intentional in everything that I do, and I try to imagine what it's going to look like. I'm very visual, so I
Mm-hmm.
have things all on my
Mm-hmm.
walls that talks about, what it is I'm going to be doing and how it is I want it to look like. And it gives me great comfort as, things begin to come to fruition. I'll say, wow, that's something I put on my wall 5 months ago and it's actually happening. Or, oh, I'm not quite there yet, but I'm going to make it happen because these other things have happened. It's important that when we're setting our intentions and these things come to be, that we actually make sure that we celebrate our successes. We don't want to take those
Yes.
things for granted, especially in this
Right.
environment these days where you feel like you have to search for things to celebrate. And the reality is that basically getting up in the morning and still being in our right minds is one thing to definitely celebrate. But aside from the obvious things, there are things that you accomplish every day, whether you've actually written them down on your to-do list or not, every day. So every day is a reason for celebration. Every day you're overcoming whatever little obstacle or whatever little challenge you've come across, whatever, to get to your desired result. Sometimes we don't really think about it that much because these are things that we work out every day, but there's still little miracles that we need to celebrate, because I really do believe that what we
Mm-hmm.
focus on, what we think about, truly does come to pass. And you can kind of begin to start this trajectory of little miracles that become larger and larger and larger, until the next thing you know, that thing on your wall that seemed so impossible, you're there. You're right at the precipice, or it's already happening. And you realize that, oh my gosh, this is something that I helped to manifest just
Mm-hmm.
by being spiritually connected to our thoughts, and what it is that we're thinking, and also being aware of what our minds need to be doing and what our body needs to be feeling. It's such a symbiotic relationship, that mind, body, spirit connection. And it's all about keeping those things healthy and going so that we can live the vibe life.
You use my favorite word, miracles. I feel like I'm a miracle maker. And when we are in that high vibe and everything that we've talked about and aligned, and we're doing our passion and we're on purpose, miracles happen. And just to expect miracles. And I've been doing this Miracle Monday. Monday's miracle. I share with my friends, it's Miracle Monday. Let's pray, let's expect, let's believe that we can receive. And every time, the most amazing things out of nowhere happen to increase our happiness and our prosperity. So Miracle Monday is what I love to do. And there's one other thing I want to talk about here, is that what interferes with our spiritual wellness, and it's these self-sabotaging patterns that we have, the distractions that keep us from our highest version and our reaching our goals and dreams. And I'm working on that myself, and I'm noticing the pattern and why I'm not reaching that goal. And so I said, okay, I got to do a little process on myself. And as I'm learning, I want to share that with others. Like, this is what helped me to overcome. I have a sugar addiction, and I am working to break through that, because I know it's keeping me from reaching that higher level that I want to be at. I want to. So I just created this 30 days to break through self-sabotage and reach your dreams and goals faster.
Oh, I love that. I love that. That's one of your new products that you're working on?
Yes,
I love that.
yes.
That's true because we probably sabotage ourselves much more than other people do. We have a tendency to look outside of ourselves in terms of why something isn't working right. But the reality is that much of that starts with us, and all of the energy and focus and effort comes from inside of us. And so, therefore, if we are sabotaging something that's not coming to fruition the way we want to, we can turn that right around and be able to develop those good habits that can take you to what it is that you do want to manifest. So I absolutely believe in the power of our minds to be able to support those dreams, visions, and goals that we want to accomplish. If you're thinking about it, if it's come to mind, then it really does mean that you can do it. It's all about recognizing those tools that God has already left for you. Sometimes the tools come in real action steps. Sometimes they come in the guise of people or things, but there's definitely something there that's meant just for you to help you accomplish that goal or to set that intention or to manifest that life that you want. It's more than possible. It's already there. We just have to make up our minds in terms of really listening and being obedient and following that inner voice that's going to lead you to your ultimate goals, your ultimate manifestations.
Yes, and those self-sabotaging are distractions. We just get let ourselves get distracted, and then we get off our purpose, off our goal, and that we just need help. We just need help. We need that positive friend that's going to remind us, and accountability and help us remember, to silence that inner critic. And that happens when you're doing the meditation, when you're making your intentions, when you're tuning in and listening, and the positive music and reading. All that helps you um, get narrowed into your miracle.
What else do we need to be thinking about when it comes to developing positive spiritual habits on a daily basis?
Well, I think to me, it's doing your emotional homework. Whatever 90% of our stress is emotional energy. It's holding on to somebody that hurt us in the past, or what someone said to us, that it's affecting our organs and our immune system, and keeping us off balance. And it's like we can't ignore it anymore. We have to address it. It's, who do you need to forgive is the question to ask. Who do you need to forgive? And you know what? So many people, the hardest one to forgive is themselves. It can be so challenging, and to, give ourselves a break from the mistakes and stop focusing on our weaknesses. So if we can learn to forgive ourselves and to love ourselves unconditionally, we become that spiritual, well-being guru, that's what I see. They're positive, they're grateful, they're forgiving, they're loving. And those are the people I want to be around. And that's what I strive to be too.
Yes, forgiveness is huge, and it's a real blessing blocker. If you are operating in
Mm.
unforgiveness, you are blocking so many positive things. And I know that people sometimes, I believe, confuse forgiveness with forgetting, and just forgiving that person or that situation, and then like everything's, back to normal again. No, it's not. You still may have issues of concern with that person or that event that caused you to be in unforgiveness. But what you're doing is you're taking the energy away from it. You're taking the control it has over you. You no longer have that strong angst or feeling in relationship to that person who hurt you or that situation that went awry. You've let all that go, and you can look at that person or look at that situation in a different light without that energy of anger, and instead say,
Mhm.
I forgive you. I release you. I may not forget,
Mhm.
how it made me feel, but I no longer have that energy in it anymore. I no longer go back to that place every time I see you or every time I go to that place or think
Yes.
about that event. It's just like, okay, yeah, that happened. It's just like anything else. It was an event in my life. I learned from it. I've grown from it. And now I'm ready to move forward without giving that energy to that negative event or that negative person. So forgiveness is really key when it comes to being spiritually well. So I absolutely agree with you there.
I love how you said that, the lack of forgiveness is a blessing blocker. That's beautiful. I wrote that down, Linus. Thank you for that. It truly is what it is. And to let's I love this. In the morning, part of my little ritual is to, like, who do I need to forgive? Who is feeling uncomfortable, like we had a little conflict. It may just be something small, and I'll think of them, and from my heart I'll send this love and light to their hearts. And I love to use the Ho'oponopono prayer. It's a Hawaiian forgiveness prayer.
Mm-hmm.
And it goes like, I love you, I'm sorry, I forgive you, thank you. And you say it as many times, at least 3, as many times till you feel the shift within you. And every time I do that, that person that I was sending it to responds. They will text me, they will call me, they'll message me, and they feel it. People feel that. And it just opens the way for more love and light and connecting on that spiritual vibe.
That is a beautiful concept. And I love that prayer as well. And you're right. When you are sending out love, which is the ultimate energy, the positive energy, it conquers all things. And you're doing it indirectly to a person who you might think might have been your nemesis or someone that's caused you angst of some kind. You're right. They feel that. And they almost always will call you, send you a note, do something.
Mm-hmm.
In fact, haven't you noticed when you think about something, they come across your mind and you say, oh, and then later on you'll run into them, or
Mm-hmm.
you'll see them like something of yours on Facebook or something. And this could have been somebody that you haven't seen or talked to in years. And they come to your mind, you're kind of thinking about them like, oh, should I reach out to them or whatever? And then all of a sudden, boom, there they are. That's not coincidence. That's part of that powerful energy that all of us have to be able to manifest in general. But in particular, you can truly manifest an enhanced communication with someone that you haven't talked with in a long time by just sending them positive thoughts and love and energy. And next thing you know, it's so powerful. They're right there. It's amazing how the mind works when it comes to that kind of manifestation. I hear people say sometimes, well, how do I manifest? How do I manifest? And so much of manifestation has to do with what's going on with your thoughts, the
Mm-hmm.
things that you tell
Definitely.
yourself, the conversations you have in your head. Many times that really makes a difference in terms of the outcomes that you're anticipating.
Yes. I tell a story about my son who, from a divorce, he stopped speaking to me for 12 years, and how painful that was, and how much I prayed and prayed and prayed. But I used that Ho'oponopono, and I used that visualization that I could keep sending my love to him and forgive myself for all of that happened. And I tell that story. So many parents have gone through, losing connections with their children through, awful divorces. And yeah, this is such a powerful tool that I teach. I actually had one client had that happen to her, and I had her do that and forgive and all that part, and just visualize her children connecting. They didn't want anything to do with her. They stopped talking to her, and yeah, her ex-husband had turned them against her. And just within a month, her children reached out. They came to live with her. She didn't have to go through court. She didn't have to talk to her ex-husband. She didn't have to say anything. She shifted her vibe, her energy, sent out that love. They felt it, and they wanted to be with her. Isn't that amazing? I call that a miracle.
That is a miracle. And yes, it is amazing, but it is so possible for everyone to do the same thing when it comes to things that they're longing for in their life. You could attract those things to you. So I know we've gone through at least 4 that I wrote down of the spiritual, the 4 habits of spiritual wellness. I know there's 3 more. What are those 3?
Um, Intention. I talked a little bit about that, but listening to your intuition. That's how God speaks to us. And we get these nudges to do something. And if it's a good thing, you're receiving a message, and to follow that message. And so many times, you might get, call this person, reach out to this person that they're needing something, and God's reaching through you and speaking through your intuition. So that, again, in the morning, listening in, what does God want me to do today? What is that? And follow that promptings. If you're not following it, you're not going to get the promptings anymore. So really making the time to listen to which direction. Sometimes it might just be turn left, turn right, buy this book, talk to this person, connect in, listening into where you're being led, to bless others and also bless yourself, and tap into that miracle. I think, sometimes we don't listen to our intuition. And, as we talked about the emotions, right? If we haven't been forgiving and we're angry and the inner critic, we don't hear our intuition very clearly. We don't hear the voice guiding us. So it's all connected in as we're doing our releasing and forgiving. Our intuition brightens and gets clear, and we've got to follow it.
That is absolutely true. One of the best ways to stay clear is to practice releasing and letting go of those negative feelings that really aren't constructive. They're not serving you. And it's a constant process, removing those energies. And there's different ways that you can do it. There are people who do energy healing. Others do tapping to physically, remove energetically the negativity that attaches itself to all of us at any given time. And it's not necessarily that people are sending you, negative vibes. It's not that. It's just that we come into contact with so many people in the course of the day, and they have different energies that, can influence how we feel without even realizing it. So just being aware that that's the case and that you can learn how to eradicate that and move those energies out so that you can really receive all the full blessings of life is probably one of the greatest miracles of all. Should you learn to do it, or go to someone that can help you learn to do it, because it makes such a huge difference. And I know, Carolyn, that you do energy healing.
I do. And I feel really, it's like spiritual work. And as I said, connecting into their soul and what is needed, and just, helping them break through and have their miracles. And so much of my work is, loving yourself and forgiving yourself and those who've hurt you. That's where the miracle comes. And it can be so challenging, but it can be so simple and easy. And we just need that mentor, that coach, to help us, guide us through that, is what you do with people and their health. Because that's another one, is what are you eating? What are you thinking? What are you doing? Are you doing the things that bring in happiness? Are you hanging out with positive people? Are you focused on what you're grateful for? That's my other one, focusing on gratitude. And, your thoughts of gratitude replace the negative. That's the first thing I do with people. And then doing those things that make you happy and relax you, and bring you fun, and connecting with those people that are positive vibe in your life. We need to let go of those who are bringing us down, who have that negative vibe, who are stuck, and pulling our energy down. And, letting go of clutter. That's another one. Letting go of the clutter, letting go of things that we don't like and want in our life, and saying yes to yourself, saying no to what you don't want, saying yes to what you do want.
I love that. Clutter is so important, both figuratively and
Mm-hmm.
actually from an esoteric standpoint, whether our minds are cluttered or our physical space is cluttered. I know when it's time for me to reorganize my room, because I can feel that I'm getting stunted creatively. So I, change the books around or do whatever it is. And all of a sudden I feel like, oh, okay, now I'm ready to do the rest of whatever it is I need to do, because I needed to kind of declutter. I love these tips, and I think I wrote them all down. The whole idea of gratitude, that's so important, and forgiveness, and the importance of, eating healthy and using your intuition, and releasing negativity. That's so huge. And also starting your day positively in a spiritual way, giving God your first fruits, and letting go of that clutter. All of these things kind of work together to help you be spiritually well. And I just love these concepts. They're so important. And I have to ask you, since we're talking about concepts, what's your idea? What's your philosophy? I ask everybody that I talk to on V.I.B.E Living, what's your philosophy of V.I.B.E living? What does that mean for you?
Yes, raising our vibe, whatever we can do to get in that good, positive feeling. And to me, that number one is the gratitude that I start my day with. What am I grateful for? I'm grateful for my bed. I'm grateful to be alive. And that raises your vibration, that you're going to attract more positive things. And then the second part to me is connecting with those people that are also grateful, positive. And they just fuel me, and conversations, and I get ideas, and I give them ideas, and we just support each other in empowering and inspiring. So creating communities, reaching out to those people, I love collaborating and bringing those people in. And it's like you have the same idea I do. Let's work together. Let's support each other. And I just get on a high. I'll tell you, a spiritual high when I am hanging out with those kind of people.
That is a wonderful thing. You're absolutely right. I think that collaboration really brings out the best in everyone. And for you entrepreneurs out there, you might want to consider that, because right now I understand that it's very challenging time while we are going through the metamorphosis of creating a new butterfly in our country. We're going through that metamorphosis. We have a lot of caterpillaring going on right now. But sometimes getting together with other caterpillars, other entrepreneurs who are pivoting their businesses and making changes, or with your friends who are making some lifestyle changes to better suit what's going on now, maybe that's something you can do together and support each other. Um, no man is an island. I don't believe we were meant to do a lot of the stuff that we do alone. I don't think we were meant to do it alone. There's power in numbers, and especially if you resonate with someone, if you have that same synergy, those same kind of goals and objectives, those same intentions, working together, supporting each other, being each other's accountability partner is probably the epitome of being spiritually and emotionally well, because you have that support, you have that sounding board, and then you also have that amen corner. When something really goes well, they get it because they are on that journey with you. Or when something falls apart, they get that too because they're on that same journey. I love your idea of vibe living. And I wanted you to share, Carolyn, with the things that you're doing right now. What's going on in Carolyn's world? What kinds of things are you doing in your business right now?
Yes, well, I love to help entrepreneur women grow their confidence and their business. And such a great way is through speaking, through sharing their story of the struggle that they went through, and turning their wound story into their wow story to promote their vision, their message, to grow their own tribe. So, taking our stories and creating that, crafting a signature speech that they can share through podcasts, through Facebook Live, through events that we are doing. We would love to invite them in, and we coach you in and preparing that and getting that confidence and using social media and promoting and growing your tribe through your message and you're using your gifts and talents. So if you're not sure what your gift and talent is, or you're not sure, you don't have your business going, we take you from scratch on finding your purpose and developing your gifts and getting you going into creating your passion through a business. And if it's speaking, if it's coaching, if it's healing, or what it is, using your expertise to raise the vibration of the planet.
Yes, in fact, I know Carolyn and I have a collaboration a while back, and I don't know exactly when you'll be listening to this podcast, but in 2020, in the beginning of 2020, with everything that was beginning to go on by about March or so, I came up with an idea, and it basically was based upon what I was hearing all of my followers on the Wellness Woman 40 and Beyond group on Facebook. There's over 3,600 women that are following me, and one of the things that was a reoccurring theme was hope. People just needed some hope, something to hold on to kind of help them get through some of the darker parts of what was happening in early 2020. So I created a brand called Hope and Wellness. And HOPE was an acronym. It stands for honoring our purpose every day, because I feel if we're honoring our purpose, our passion, if we're operating in that, it raises our vibration. It raises our ability to hope, to find joy in even the smallest things. So I had met Carolyn, and we came together and did the Hope and Wellness Summit, which was an event where 14 speakers from all over the country came together to speak about topics involving hope and wellness. It went very well. We had over 2,200 views on Facebook, and we released it on YouTube. Well, we're getting ready to do it again, and I don't know exactly when you'll be listening to this, but more than likely, there will be a link that will lead you to more information about this on your show page. But we are now putting together the Hope and Wellness Retreat. And again, my idea was that I wanted to do a virtual spa day. So many times we've started to go to the nail place or the facial place or whatever, and it got shut down, or we didn't feel comfortable or whatever, but we're still longing to be pampered in a way we don't normally pamper ourselves. So we are gathering women who are holistic practitioners and other women who will be speaking on the whole idea of taking care of our minds, our bodies, and our spirits from a holistic perspective. And this is going to be different than just sitting and listening to people talk at you. It's going to be interactive. We're going to be doing yoga and learning new recipes for skincare and making a smoothie and just doing all kinds of things to honor who we are as women, and to honor and to focus on the importance of enhancing our self-care. And sometimes it's the small little things that we do for ourselves that go such a long way to helping us feel better, hopeful, to helping us be well. And if mama's well and her hope is intact, then everybody else in the house is going to be well too. So we're very excited about working together on this virtual Hope and Wellness Retreat, and hope that you get a chance to go if you listen to this podcast, or if you listen to the podcast and it's already happened, you can click on the link and actually see what we did and how everything went. I'm real excited about it, Carolyn. I think it's going to be a real blessing to the many, many women that whose lives we get to touch.
Yes. And we got such great feedback from our last one. People saying, thank you so much. This is exactly what I needed. And just uplifting and positive, and just bringing a community together, because we're so lacking connection, and we so need that. That just is, that's where we can thrive. When we feel connected, we're not alone.
Absolutely. And I'm so glad that all of you have connected with Carolyn and I today on the V.I.B.E Living Podcast. I love having my fellow V.I.B E women come in and share their expertise and their knowledge and their wisdom. It's always a special time. And Carolyn, I know all of your contact information is on the show page, but could you tell them your website so they can go and check you out on the website?
Yes.
How can they find you?
So it's CarolynKMcGraw.com. And on there, I've got a free gift for everyone. I've got a meditation. It's empowering and relaxing. And also, if you're an entrepreneur, you're wanting to be an entrepreneur, grow your business, I've got a free audio book on enlightened ways to grow a prosperous business.
Fantastic. Please check her out. I always want to make sure that I support our fellow women entrepreneurs, and I know all of you feel the same way. Thank you so much for listening to the V.I.B E Living Podcast. It's so wonderful to be able to spend some time talking about my favorite thing. Please share the podcast with friends and family who you think would like to hear what we're talking about, and subscribe. If you're listening to us on Apple Podcasts, subscribe to our podcast there, or perhaps you might be listening to Anchor. And if you are listening to Anchor, I don't have any problems with you hitting the donation button to keep us on the air. We would love that. But most importantly, I just love having you come and listen to our sharings. And I look forward to having you come back again and really getting a chance to find out the kinds of things that you can do to vibe. Thanks so much for listening. My name is Lennis, and I will see you again next time. And don't forget to vibe. Thank you for listening to the V.I.B.E Living Podcast. Please feel free to download, rate, share, and like the show. To find out more about living a V.I.B.E life, go to my website at wellnesswoman40.com or email me at vibelivingpodcast@gmail.com. Have a fantastic day, and Don't forget to vibe.